You ever have that one weird kid at school where you're just like, yeah, I'm just gonna sit over here? Well, that was me. But instead of being over here, I was right next to him. Now, don't get me wrong, my school had a lot of weird kids, like a whole catalog's worth. But that's way too big of a collection to cover in one video. So instead, I'll just stick to one story. For privacy's sake and a lack of memory, we will name him Onyx. I met him in 8th grade and I usually sit near him during English and social studies. He would try to talk to people, but no one really gave him any attention. They just nod, hit him with a quick yeah, and just walk off without actually engaging. And I never understood why. Like, here's this kid who's just trying to make friends, but no one's giving him a chance. So one day after class, while everyone's packing their bags and saying their goodbyes, I figured, why not? I grabbed my stuff, walked over, and introduced myself. And at first glance, he didn't seem bad at all. Maybe he was a little bashful, a little shy, but he had this sort of innocent vibe. Yeah, turns out I was wrong about that. Something I noticed right away was that whenever I introduced him to new friends, he wasn't exactly the polite type. He never sugarcoated his opinions. Like one time, my friend showed me a drawing he made, and since he was still new to art, I thought it was pretty good progress. Yeah, it looks really... Why does his head look so big? What? Why does his head look so big? Well, I still don't really know how to draw the fit. Yeah, I think you should work on that. I mean, there are artists out there who definitely can draw better. Like, the proportions are kind of bad, and the eyes don't match up, and well, we're all still learning. I think it looks great. Just keep practicing. Yeah, okay. Now, my issue wasn't that he was giving advice. Obviously, there's room to improve when you're just starting out. The problem was the delivery. Like, bro, you just met him. And this kind of thing kept happening in a lot of situations. Anytime I introduced him to anyone, he'd throw out an opinion that immediately soured the first impression. And then I'd be stuck trying to translate what he actually meant. It didn't matter what the topic was. Music, games, random stuff. He always had something to say. Yo, check out these new shoes I got. Actually, those aren't shoes. Those are sneakers. Now you might be thinking, how does it sound that weird? Well, that's because I'm just getting started. Anime.
Are you the new girl? Well, I thought so. I've never seen you before. Konnichiwa, I'm David-kun.
Sure, it's iconic. Tons of fans, massive community, but let's not pretend there isn't a dark side to that community. And unfortunately, our friend Onyx was deep in that side. Remember, this was 8th grade, so when I first found out what a waifu was, I was genuinely confused. Wait, hold on. You're telling me you rank these women based on how much you want them to be your wife? Look, no shame if you have a waifu or two. Maybe a little bit of a shame. But some people take it way too far, like Onyx. Imagine this. You walk to school, sit down. You open your laptop, get ready for an academic day, and BAM! Not only that, he had stickers, plushies. He will talk to them like they were real. Saying how much you want to spend time with her, hold her hand. Yeah, I'm pretty uncomfortable. Onyx, is there anything else you want to talk about? No. Anyway, like I was saying. So here's the deal. The way he gave opinions, always blunt. Sometimes straight up disrespectful. And yeah, maybe he had some unusual hobbies people thought were a little weird. But I figured, at the very least, he could take some advice himself. Yeah, no. That was not the case. The last thing you ever wanted to do is give him suggestions. He hated that. Even if you were trying to help, he'd snap back. Half the time he might hear you out, but the other half, forget it. I remember one time we were looking at his drawing. Hey, have you thought about adding some color there? No, I haven't. Well, I think it might look pretty cool. I said, we're not adding color. Okay, never mind. And that was the cycle. You couldn't suggest, you couldn't criticize, you couldn't even hint at changing something. He shut it down instantly. Sometimes even get aggressive about it. So between that, his habit of souring conversations with blunt opinions, the total hypocrisy when anyone tried to give him feedback, people started to lose their patience. And when that patience runs out, they didn't just ignore him anymore. They started teasing him, pushing his buttons on purpose. And that is when things got nuclear. Let me give you some context for where I was during all this. At first, I was just trying to give him a chance, let him talk, bring him into the friend group, maybe help him get along with people. And even after he made some bad impressions, I still tried to help him. But he just wouldn't take advice, and slowly, I can feel my patience starting to wear thin. The problem was, when he did get upset, he'd go off, yelling, throwing things, full-on outbursts. And it always turned into a scene. Like classmates would stop what they were doing and turn to watch. And of course, since I was one of the only people who talked to him, people started associating me with him. There was this girl who I had a crush on, and we were finally talking, having good times together. But to see it almost lose its grasp because of the people I'm associated with, it will be hard to deal with. Even if I didn't have a crush, it was still embarrassing. One time there was this kid who loved pushing his buttons. He did that thing where you sneak a pencil into someone's ear to make them flinch. He tried it on him, and that was it. He completely lost it. He stood up, chased the kid across the room, grabbed both ends of the table, and ripped it apart, all while screaming at the top of his lungs. And everyone just sat there, wide-eyed, watching it unfold. Now you might be thinking, why didn't you just leave? Just stop hanging around with him. And yeah, it sounds simple when you say it out loud, but actually doing it, that's harder. Because as frustrating as he was, there were days when he was calm, days when he seemed like he was trying. He'd even tell me that sometimes I was his only friend, and honestly, that hit me. I knew he didn't always understand social awareness, but deep down, I could tell he wanted to. At the end of the year, he came up to me and said, "I know we might not be able to see each other, but you were the only great friend I had. I'm thankful to be your friend." And honestly, I don't know where he is now. I don't know what he's doing, but I really hope he's better, that he's learned from it, and that he's grown. Because despite everything, I still hope he's doing okay.